I came alone, without anyone knowing. If we were having fun, we wouldn't be here together.
It was one of those moments where military duties get mixed with human questions. That's when our story began, a story filled with inner conflict and a decision that would change someone's life. I'm telling this from my own point of view. As a young recruit who thought my mission was nothing more than following orders. I was the kind of soldier who took her role seriously. I didn't let small emotions steal my focus. My name isn't important here, not as much as what I went through inside that small cell, on a heavy night that carried the smell of gunpowder and dust. They called me in for someone considered an important source of information by the intelligence guys. They said this young man belonged to the division's battalions. That he had to talk, to open up, so we could find out where the prisoners were being held, or the homes of people connected to them. They told me straight up, the only way to get answers might be through psychological pressure, and that I should use everything I'd been trained to do to get results fast. So I went in. For the first time. It felt like stepping across invisible borders, with soldiers behind me, faces stiff, as if weakness had no place in the room. I opened the door. The cut of light from above showed me the fragile face of a young man. He was sitting on a thin mat, guarding some inner world that was completely hidden from ours. He didn't look like a violent criminal. His face carried exhaustion, a long night written on it, but orders were orders. And training was training. We get him, or we break him. That's what they said. The leader told me my job was to play the sedative. She said, sometimes success comes by making the prisoner believe there's someone who sees something else in him, someone who doesn't treat him like a target. Inside, I laughed bitterly. Fine. I'll play the role that AT first. I approached his cell once or twice, tossing comments, mocking his condition, pretending to be harmless while putting food in front of him. But at night, when he was left alone, I started hearing whispers that AT first. I thought he was just muttering. But the more I listened, the more I realized they weren't just words. They were prayers. Not fake ones. Not rehearsed ones. Real prayers, simple words that carried names of a mother, a sister, a hungry man who hadn't been fed. I didn't even understand all of it because it was in local Arabic. But the warmth in his voice, it reached me in a way I can't really describe. Something inside me shifted. The day came when I had to move things forward. They told me to go into a room that didn't feel harsh, but rather gave the impression that I was empathetic, that I was listening. The plan was simple, make him feel like he was being treated as a human being, so maybe he'd let something slip, a name, a location. I walked in and sat down in front of him. I asked about his family, his work. And for the first time, my heart faltered. Without even planning it, I found myself asking, "Do you have children?" He looked at me calmly, then said, "My little boy sends me a message every week. With drawings. And if you saw those drawings, you'd see magic I can't even explain." I gave a small, practiced laugh. But then he laughed deeper, and that laugh, it wasn't something I could turn into an intelligence report. That moment, he wasn't a target. He was just a man. A human being, and that night changed everything.